Hello, welcome. This is my weekly series of buy, sell, hold, or gamble. So essentially, I can talk through the players that I think are good buys this week, players that I think you should maybe start moving on under sell, hold players that are very popular transfers out, but I'm saying don't sell them just yet, hold your horses on them, and then gamble is an extension of the buy, basically players that I think are good buys, but they come with an element of risk. So whether that's low ownership or minutes or fixtures could be different for each player. But that's the gist of it. Let's dive right into starting with buy. So there's probably no surprises here. Obviously now is a great week to get on your Crystal Palace assets. Lots of you might have a defender already. I think now's a great time to get on an attacker. And if you're like me, you might get both. So Mateta is a great buy this game week. There aren't many strikers doing the business at the moment, and I think Mateta is about to go on a great run. Obviously Palace's fixtures coming up now look good. It's got a sea of green fixtures there. You've got 3 home games in the next 4, and then Burnley after that. And Mateta is a great asset. Obviously, he's very popular transfer in this game week. He's good minutes this season. Even when Nketiah's coming on, he's coming on for Jeremy Pino. So Mateta's minutes are still like more than 80 minutes per game. So he's got good minutes. He's not being subbed early at the moment. Obviously, European football is coming up for Palace, but I don't think it's enough to say avoid either of these players. I think you should still get them in your team. That might come with increased fatigue and a slight decline of minutes, but they don't have the squad to rotate. They're going to keep playing him, and I'm just so impressed watching Crystal Palace. They are a top 6 team at the moment, and they can beat anyone, home or away. So yeah, get Mateta in. In terms of his underlying data, he's second best to Haaland. He's got great underlying data there, non-penalty XGI of 0.78 a game, and he's on penalties as well. So you might be looking at a return a game at the moment, especially these fixtures coming up. And if his goals are spread across the games more evenly, obviously he got a hat-trick one game week, he would have a lot more bonus points. So yeah, I think Mateta is a great buy this week. Very popular transfer in. By all means, do get him. I bought him this week as well for João Pedro. And then, of course, Ismaila Sarr. Now, I could have put him in the gamble section because he is lower than 10% owned, but there's no gambling when it comes to Ismaila Sarr. He's just such a great and safe buy. There's no point me putting him in that section. I would just advise you bringing in Ismaila Sarr this week at 6.5 million. I think he's the best player at that price bracket. Starts every game week, good minutes, close to 90 minutes, and his underlying data is also phenomenal, as it was last season. His data suggests he'll get a goal every 2 games, and he's on course for that this season. So yeah, both great buys, great game week to get on your Crystal Palace assets. So, some popular sales this week, which I do agree with. Let's start with Kudus. I sold him 2 weeks ago for Ismaila Sarr, and now's just a great week to do the same transfer, I think. Spurs' fixtures are sort of getting worse now. Even Man United there is a green fixture. I don't think that's green, really, even if it is at home. Chelsea United aren't giving up too many chances at the moment, and on Arsenal, you're not going to get anything there. And Kudus' online data isn't great. It's mainly, well, it's pretty even between XG and assist threat. 0.31 a game is fine, but if you're comparing that to Ismaila Sarr, I think Kudus is a sell. He's 33% owned, so even when he does return, he's not going to get you that many points across the field. And he's overperformed on his data to get 5 assists and 1 goal. And you can't really rely on any Spurs asset to return. I don't have a talisman. Kudus is the closest thing they have to a talisman, but he's not really a talisman. Their points are so spread, and they're not looking that good going forward. So yeah, sell Kudus this week if you've got him. I think Ismaila Sarr is a great replacement, and obviously João Pedro. So over 500,000 transfers out already this game week. I will just say I've had to put him in the sell category because I sold him this week. I went to Mateta, but I don't think he's a must sell. There is a world where you can keep him. I was very close to just not making the move and keeping João Pedro, but I had to make it early because I would have been priced out otherwise. Because Chelsea's fixtures are just great coming up. Home to Wolves looks like probably the best fixture at the moment, and then you've got Burnley. Obviously, you've got the Arsenal game, but then you've got Leeds. So, sort of them next 5 fixtures, you've got 3 great fixtures within them 5. But main reason being selling João Pedro, his underlying data is just not good enough. He's not taking enough shots. He's not creating chances. He's not involved really. Lots of Chelsea's play, their best play comes from their wingers. They're not really getting anything going centrally at the moment. And I'm watching Chelsea, and I'm not liking what I see of João Pedro. He might get worse minutes now, and Maresca says he's carrying a little a knock, something wrong with his groin, I think. And if you watch the game against London, he had a great opportunity to shoot, and he tried to play a square pass instead. Maybe that's just an injury in the back of his head. So I don't think now is a great time to own João Pedro. If you're inclined to keep him, then I can understand why you would want to keep him. But I also think it's quite similar. I got great fixtures coming up, and I sort of draw a parallel to I sold Verts before he had Burnley and Everton, and this is sort of similar with João Pedro now. I sold Verts because he wasn't showing me he was an asset. He wasn't showing me the data, and same with João Pedro now. He's not showing me he's a pick right now. Fixtures are good when the pick is a viable option, but when they're not viable, do fixtures really matter? I don't know. He'll probably prove us all wrong and get some jammy goals and assists like he always does. But I think you're fine to sell João Pedro this week. I've sold him. I think Mateta's a great person to pivot to. Yes, by all means, get rid of JP. So, players I think you should probably hold. I mean, definitely Gyökeres. I can understand why some people are selling him because they want to move their funds around. They want to get an Arsenal defender, maybe an extra Arsenal defender. But I would not like to sell Gyökeres this game week. Away to Burnley, especially. Even away to Sunderland, I feel better about it. But away to Burnley, we're going to score goals. I think there's a decent chance Gyökeres takes a penalty, especially being away from home against a Burnley side, because he might be 2-0 up, 3-0 up at that point. I think he's got a decent chance for a penalty against Burnley. And I also think he's a flapjack bully. He's going to get chances against this Burnley team, and I would back him to take to bury them. His underlying data is fine. Obviously, it's not phenomenal. It's not probably worthy of the 9 million. Obviously, Mateta's data is better, but he's got good data. Yeah, I would not be inclined to sell Gyökeres this game week. I think there are some reasons to it. Like I said, spreading the funds around. Maybe you wanna bring in your Arsenal defender. Like if you don't have Gabriel already, maybe that is a move you would like to make, but I don't think this is the week to do it. I think you want to hold Gyökeres for at least this game week, and if he's not great again against Burnley, then I'd feel a lot better selling him away to Sunderland than I would against Burnley. So I'm keeping Gyökeres in my team this game week. If you've got João Pedro and Gyökeres, sell João Pedro, keep Gyökeres. I'm keeping him for the next 2 fixtures, and I'm probably going to take him out against Spurs or away to Chelsea. That's personally my team, but I'm keeping him in for now. I think goals will come. And then Reinders, so I'm holding this game week because he is my 8th attacker. So depending on your team, if he's your 7th attacker, yeah, you probably do need to sell him, or you need to look at, is there a way to make him my 8th attacker? Because look at City's fixtures coming up. When it comes to that Leeds game, after them 3 games there, it just keeps being green and green and green. And all it takes is a couple of injuries for City. A couple of injuries for the number 10s, and Reinders' minutes are all of a sudden good again. He might be playing more advanced. So if you can afford to bench him, hold him. Don't waste a transfer selling him. Or if you're working out who do you need to sell more out for Kudos and Reinders, see if you can bench Reinders. Obviously, if you've got like a stack and a Reinders, you're probably going to have to sell Reinders. I just think you'll struggle to find the money to upgrade stack to a star. But if you can afford to hold him, I would hold him. He is an okay sell, but I'm just saying he's not a must sell this week. I'm saying lots of people say sell him, sell him, sell him. I don't think it's a must sell. I don't want to really be starting him. He's there as an emergency if I need to. And despite him being subbed off early a couple of times and him playing deeper, his underlying dating as an average is pretty good. At 8 minutes a game, get a return every 4 games, that's still pretty good. So I'm keeping Reinders for now. I think you can hold him too. So here we are. Gamble, gamble, gamble. Obviously, your Crystal Palace assets are great buys this week. Don't go against them for the sake of it. But if you do want to gamble, maybe Triple Palace already, or maybe you can't afford a couple players, here are some that you can look at. Let's start with Cuba Minter. Only 3.6% owned, so if he does return, you're going to fly up the ranks. He's not had too many transfers in yet. But Brighton's fixtures coming up are really good. Got some great fixtures coming up here. Leeds at home is a great point to get on him. It's probably the best fixture out of the next 6, so now's a great window to get on him. And his minutes have been good this season. 85 minutes per start. He's getting 90 the last 2-3 games. And his underlying data is there. 0.4 is like the benchmark for me. And he's 0.39. So yeah, he's a good pick. For only 6 million, you know, you're not going to expect 11 pointers, 9 pointers consistently. But I think he's going to tick along and average you a decent amount of points. And he could spike for a couple of weeks. He doesn't have that many routes to points, but I think his underlying data is good enough. I like what I see when I watch him. I think he's a decent punt. I think you can gamble there if you need a 6 million or less midfielder this week. I do slightly probably do prefer Welbeck, but I just think there is a lot more risk with Welbeck. Just because of his fitness. I think Minter is nailed on, whereas Welbeck, I don't know, you can't really trust his fitness, and It's been it secure. He's in a good spell form at the moment, but Welbeck's always like this. When you try and hop on him, you can't time it well. And I just think there's other forwards like Voldemada and Mateta that I'd feel a lot more secure about rather than Welbeck. So if you want Brighton attack, I would look at Minter. And then obviously for Voldemada, say you can't afford Mateta or you're already tripled up, or maybe you already have Mateta but you still have João Pedro and you want to sell João Pedro, I think I'd probably go Voldemada over Welbeck and Thiago. Just because Voltamada you can hold for the longer term. After that Burnley game, Newcastle's fixtures get really good. So you can hold him for the long term, whereas Thiago is not really the best window to get on him. He's got a couple tricky games and then they get decent again. But Thiago is a fine pick, but I've gone for Voltamada as my gamble. The reason these are gambles is because there are safer picks in Mateta and who else. You know, he's quite highly owned at 22%. But I quite like getting a Newcastle attacker, and they've got West Ham this week, and Voldemar is a giant of a man, and West Ham cannot defend in the air. So you might be good for a goal against West Ham, and then you've got slightly harder fixtures in Brentford and City, but at least City's at home. And Voldemar minutes have been pretty good. Visser's still not in the picture, and then when he is in the picture, he'll have AFCON again. Gordon's getting subbed early, so you can't really go for Gordon. And when Gordon's not on the pitch, Voldemar is going to take the penalty. So there is a slight gamble there. Obviously, his XG, his non-penalty XG is very good, and his XGI is good at 0.61. That is better than, who did I say before? It's better than Jokeres, for example. Better than João Pedro, of course. It's not as good as Mateta, but he's up there. That is good data. He's got 4 goals already. I think that's like 6 starts. So yeah, Voltamada is a great pick. I like him because you can keep him long term. 7.5 million, I think, is fair value. But there is a slight gamble just because the next 3 fixtures aren't the best. I think West Ham's good, but then you've got away to Brentford. That's fine. That should probably be a slight green fixture. And then obviously home to City. But after that, I assure you, the fixtures do get a lot better. So yeah, Voltamada and Minter are my gamble picks this game week. Alright, so if you made it this far, thank you very much for watching. I really do appreciate that, and I'm trying to grow my channel. It's my first season doing content, so please, if you liked what you saw here, drop it a like, subscribe to my channel. Also, check me out on X, and if you've got a TikTok account, find me on TikTok at FPL_Wildy. I'm going to try and keep going with the content, so please subscribe. It'd be massively helpful, and I hope you enjoyed that. I hope it was somewhat helpful for you, or at least entertaining. Let me know what you're doing down below, and until next time, I'll see you later.